Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the NS9 Postgame Show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Dougie Fresh. Doug, hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Definitely.
I mean, 6 in a row, 8 of 9. Kind of a rough outing. Not a rough outing, but not a stellar skiing start. Yeah.
I kind of feel like
finally hits a home run.
Wayne here says RIP the Pirates 2024 season. I feel like this kind of caps it. If what happened the past two series wasn't enough, coming into LA and then the Padres coming up, you had to make up some ground here. And now again, like they've dropped their 6th in a row, 8 of 9. This isn't how you want to come on the other side of the trade deadline. That's for sure.
Well, and losses with Keller and Skenes, right? Those are, that's what we sort of wait for, every week. Okay, those guys are going to start. We're going to have a great chance to win. And they didn't stop the losing streak. They didn't pitch gems. And if they can't get the Pirates out of this, nobody can, right? I mean, there's just,
basically
Bailey Falter tomorrow. I mean, Yeah.
But then again, it'll be Bailey Falter. Things will get reversed. Bailey Falter is going to go out there and pitch a no-hitter.
Yeah, right. And that is, it would be very Pirate. He'll go out and shove
we're
tomorrow.
So back.
Yeah. Right. And
but no, I'm afraid we're not there.
Who needs the wild card? Let's chase down the Brewers. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, it's hard not to think that this season is over. Now, how it turns out, how it plays out the rest of the way, does this, downward spiral continue, or do they just muddle along? Whatever. We're not making the playoffs, and that part of the season's over.
Certainly has that feeling. Before we go any further, though, Doug, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one over 150 slot games. Head to the website today, get on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game starts here. Yeah, Doug, it's not looking good. It just simply isn't. And like you said, that was the one thing about the Dodgers. Well, not the Padres series. You were going to miss Skenes and Keller, but in the Dodgers, you're going to get it. So like they were the ones that are going to be here to stop the bleeding. They don't. And on top of that, it doesn't seem like the Padres or Diamondbacks are ever going to lose again. So it's not even so much that you're doing your own damage, but the teams that you needed to catch up to are just, they're on a tear right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I said last week that I feel better about catching the Brewers than I do those two teams in the wild card. I mean, those teams are substantially better than the Pirates, are on fire, right? I mean, at least we have games with the Brewers. I mean, yes, we do have some games at San Diego left, but I do not want to play them. I want to figure out some way to get out of playing those games. And it'll be the same thing. I mean, it's no Keller, it's no Skenes. And they're a buzzsaw. I mean, the next 4 games don't look like a lot of fun, but after that, maybe you get on a hot streak. Maybe you take some away from the Brewers or something. But yeah, wild card seems absolutely out of the question.
It does. But honestly, the thing about this team is they're not this bad. Unfortunately, they became this bad right now, the most inopportune time of the entire season, likely, but they're not this bad, and I don't foresee like the rest of the season just being complete misery. Like Jim said it, and it's true. They're going to still play competitive baseball. They're going to win more. I shouldn't say more than not. They're going to win close to about as many as they lose. I don't know which way it's going to fluctuate here forward, but they're going to hover around a 500 team, I would imagine.
Should we point out that Jim Rosati was at the game?
He was. He was. You can
I mean,
take that
this
for
team was in a nosedive, and he shows up to a road game. I mean, what? Come on! I mean, we're struggling as it is, and the Rosati curse is in full force. I mean, he got
exactly.
Skenes for crying out loud. Even Skenes is enough to overcome the Rosati curse.
I mean, is it not coincidental that Jim Rosati returns the same time Ben Heller returns?
Yeah. Hey, Ben Heller, 2 scoreless.
we
a
could
little
get there
dicey,
sure.
but come on.
But anyway, let's start and talk about Paul Skenes. You know, again, like he came in and quite frankly, he looked pretty damn good. It didn't seem as if he was capable of getting Teoscar Hernandez out or Gavin Lux. The rest of the Dodgers was no match for him. But like them two, they had his number today. They went, I think they collected 5 hits in total. The entire 4 RBIs was them two. Teoscar Hernandez hitting that home run.
Right.
Right after he struck out Ohtani, and I said, wow, Paul Skenes looking nasty. And then boom, home run. Obviously, of course.
Yeah, I mean, he had bad luck, and I hate doing this, right? Because soft contact counts, it all counts. But those first 2 Hernandez hits were just, whatever. They found grass. It wasn't. He didn't sting. I mean, the home run was obviously, he stung the ball, but it was just, just a little bad luck there. I mean, Skenes never looked bad in this outing. He just, as we've said before, didn't necessarily have his best stuff, but it could have been fine. Just a little luck, and he could have been better. But we don't have a little luck. We've never had a little luck. So,
right, it had that feeling on it. Like, and I also jokingly said he gave up some weak contact. That just happened to be too weak. I mean, Brian, you mentioned like Teoscar Hernandez hit that ball just such a slow dribbler. Took Ryan Hayes forever to even get to there. And like once he did, there was no throw on the play. Safe. It was just so poorly hit that it was hit so well.
Right.
And and again, like he didn't give up too many hits at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's
so he goes 6 innings, 6 hits, again, 5 to those 2, 1 being that super blooper. But yeah, 4 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, the home run, the walk. The splinker was looking really good, but also like the splinker was what Teoscar Hernandez crushed that and hit the home run off of. And yeah, I mean, it was a little over the middle, but he crushed that ball. And again, that splinker is arguably the best pitch in baseball, hands down. So kudos to Teoscar Hernandez. And Paul Skenes looked pretty amazed that it happened. Also, if you saw him on the mound, but like that stuff happens.
Again, good hitters, I mean, he's a good player. It's not like he gave it up to, some bum. So yeah, you can't really find a lot of fault in Skenes' outing.
No.
But that's how it goes sometimes. And again, we are, not only can we not hit and the bullpen can't pitch right now, we also don't have luck. Nothing is going our way. And they're going to have to just dig out of this somehow, right? Maybe it starts tomorrow, maybe it starts in San Diego, or I don't know, but yeah, somehow they're going to have to dig deep and someone's going to have to steal one somehow and just kind of turn it around.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, look at it this way. I don't want the Pirates to be thinking we're out of the playoffs. Like that's just not a good mentality. You can have the true realization that just frankly isn't happening. But as a team, as a culture, like I don't want that in their mindset. But what I do want to see,
I want to see them make moves.
There's still meaning behind the rest of the year too. Like I still want to see them finish strong. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I still want to see that fire. I still want them to be competing. And I want them to learn how to win some damn baseball games. Because if it ain't this year, it ultimately
to beat good teams,
no question asked, has to be next season. So they better learn and find out how to win baseball games. Much like we talked a little bit about last year, like you still wanted to see them win, and they did. They played productive baseball down the stretch last year. I still want that from this team this year. But again, Paul Skenes
absolutely.
pitched
You want to,
a pretty damn
guys are
good ball
fighting for
game.
jobs, fighting for at bats, right? Yeah.
Yep. And then, thanks to Jim also, who sent a picture and tweeted it, we found out that Ben Heller was warming up in the bullpen to replace Paul Skenes. So at that moment, I took a very, very deep breath and said, hold on to your butts. It's about to get interesting. And you know what? It got interesting. The bases were loaded.
It got interesting.
0
Yes, it did.
outs.
No.
And you know what? 3 straight strikeouts from Ben Heller to end the inning. So he gets out of that self-imposed jam by him. Kudos to Ben Heller. This is also what Ben Heller also has kind of been. Like, for the people who were intrigued and want to see Ben Heller, he's not a Keller. By no means is he a Keller.
Yeah.
But we're intrigued by Ben Heller was the stuff that he possesses, which he showed in those 3 strikeouts. The reason that you aren't so intrigued by Ben Heller is he gives up a lot of hits, a lot of hard contact, a lot of home runs, which he shows you for the first few batters as well. It's a mixed bag with him, and he showed pretty much everything in his arsenal today except for giving up the home run.
You're not going to have a lot of success putting the first 3 hitters on. It's not too often you're going to get out of that unscathed. So, right, that's not a path to success. He did it. Like I said, kudos to him. Tip your cap, but especially for a reliever, right? You can't have relievers putting base runners on all over it. And they're supposed to come in and get you out of things and not get you into them. So,
right.
But to his credit, whatever, it was, I guess, the most exciting thing that happened to the Pirates in the game, right?
Maybe not
those last 3 strikeouts,
right? But then right. He does come in for the final
9th inning fireworks,
right? He does come in the final inning. He goes 2 today, but that final one, 3 outs as well, 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. But hey, he chopped his season ERA in half, Doug. Chopped it right down the middle. He's now sitting at a 24.75.
Right down the middle.
So, hey, we're getting better.
That's dramatic improvement, right?
That's right.
That is a dramatic improvement. Yeah.
But at any rate, again, we talk about Skenes, talk about Heller. There's the pitching side of it. Let's get to the bats. It was one of those days. River Ryan, of course, also, we're talking like kudos to Teoscar, tip of the cap to him for that home run. River Ryan looked outstanding as well. The Pirates didn't do him any favors,
he did.
Themselves any favors, but he looked good. However, he did leave the game early due to injury. So you're thinking like, okay, here's the opportunity. They're going to get to the bullpen. Maybe they can come back. That's one thing that the Pirates have done and shown. They will try. They will fight. They're going to try to come back in every game. Like, they don't just give up and wave the white flag. But even the bullpen, which ironically, none of them were ex-Pirates today. Or no, I guess Daniel Hudson did finish the game. Yeah. So there was one ex-Pirate.
Daniel Hudson, right. That's true.
Right. But and he was the one that gave up the run. But the bullpen was still just too much for the Pirates. So they do get 9 hits on the day. Once again, runners in scoring position, 0 for 6. They did a fantastic job of getting 2 on with 2 outs and ending the inning.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, some bad luck, right? Phenomenal plays made by the Dodgers. Kiermaier, the great catch. Rowdy hit his first 2 at bats. He crushed both those. And they made, good plays. The Kiermaier play was fantastic. Kiki Hernandez had a couple of really nice plays. Again, they're a good team, and they make good plays, and they're fundamentally sound. And we get guys picked off first, twice in the first couple innings, and we're not a fundamentally sound team. We break to second when on a line drive instead of breaking back to first, and all this stuff that you learn in Little League, we don't seem to understand, comprehend, and doesn't seem to be coached or enforced or held accountable for. We just, that's the one thing we haven't slumped at, is getting runners picked off base.
Yep. And what you're referring to is, Michael A. Taylor getting picked off at first, and Joey Bart taking off for second, and
Joey Bart doubled off. Right. Yeah.
it was a caught baseball, and those are the first.
Yeah.
It gets doubled up, and like that's the thing too. Like when you're playing the Dodgers, who you know are such a good baseball team, and you are trying to fight for your life for the playoffs, you can't give up opportunities like that. When you get guys on base, you can't get them out, and take yourself out of scoring position or opportunities.
The Pirates have to, in every facet of the organization, the Pirates have to win in the margins. If you're going to run out an 80 million payroll, if you're going to try to have a mostly homegrown team, if you're going to take guys off the scrap heap, then you can't make all these errors. You can't give these outs away. You can't give extra outs, and the Pirates do that consistently. If I don't want to get into a whole Shelton discussion, right, about his moves or all that. This has nothing to do with, okay, he has bad players to choose from. His players are not playing fundamentally sound baseball.
Right.
They said they don't know what base to throw to. They don't know, they get picked off first and second base, third base. I mean, it's amazing. That's my biggest, complaint with him. I'm not mad that he uses Bednar in the ninth inning. I mean, what else are you going to do? That's what anybody else would do. But this kind of stuff and this late in the season, it shouldn't happen in spring training. It shouldn't happen in the first couple of weeks of April, but it certainly should not, after, these, consistent occurrences, there needs to be a team meeting. There needs to be something like, hey, fellas, we might want to focus on some base running or something. And we just keep going on. And again, we're not a good enough team to get guys to first and second, with nobody out, and then make the outs in the base paths and that sort of thing. So if that is not some sort of off season and spring training priority, what are we even doing here?
You're right. And, it's one thing. I'll go back to O'Neill Cruz. He makes a lot of errors. You hope he goes into fixing them, right? You want and need him to fix that part of his game. But there's also something where if there's one or two guys that make these, but they make up in other ways, like an O'Neill Cruz makes it up for the bat. You live and die a little bit with that. But there's also no one coming up to take his spot, But the thing is but it's everyone. It's collectively. It's the team. This isn't just okay, you know what? There's two guys on here,
right.
Like an Ellie De La Cruz, same concept. Okay, we'll live with the errors, we'll live with the defense, we'll live with some of these mistakes that they make because they make up for this and whatnot. But it's also just one player, it's one person, or maybe it's two. But this is just the Pirates' MO. Right. They always shoot themselves in the foot,
right,
in some manner, and that's what you're getting at. It comes to a point now is then you have to look up higher than this. If it's a team issue, you have to look to the leadership.
Right. This isn't one guy, and you say, okay, it's Joey Bart, but he's hitting 3-4. He's crushing the ball. He's doing everything else well. No, it's a team. Everybody in this team has been thrown out in the bases in a dumb way this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys that have been called up, guys that are gone, it's everybody. So It doesn't seem to be coached up in the minors. It doesn't seem to be coached at the major league level. And if you can't see that, it's a problem, right? If Ben Cherington can't see that this is a problem, or Travis Williams, or somebody needs to say, are they watching the games, right? It's they need to. They got to coach this stuff up, because we're not signing Pete Alonso next year. We're not signing. We're not going to go get the best center fielder. We're not going to go get the best starting pitcher. We're going to do very similar things. We're going to call up some guys and hope, and we're going to take some guys off the scrap heap and hope. And so it's at least they could do is get fundamentally sound.
Yep.
And people are going to make errors, right? That's fine.
It's just the constant rash of them and mental mistakes, and again, errors, but just the mental lapses that are constantly happening, and just like you said, fundamentals, and it showed tonight too. And I know, listen, self-admittedly, I was hard on this person today, and it's just because the frustration of Cherington, more or less, his decision on paying for control rather than impact. That's my biggest gripe on the Brian De La Cruz acquisition. But like with him, he's been a below average hitter since he's coming over. He hasn't done anything. And I get like, I mean, it's a small sample, but it's not just this small sample that's defining him. He hasn't been a good hitter for his career, but like, it's like you talk about like with mental lapses and this and that and whatever, you know, like with No Cruz, at least he's hitting, you know, so like you gain something, even though you live with the errors, you can live, you know, he's doing this and that, but like Brian De La Cruz is also not a good outfielder. And we've been showing that this series. I mean, back-to-back games, he's bobbled the baseball. You know, last night he didn't make a clean catch. It came out of his glove. Today, the same thing. And then the next opportunity has the, you know, a ball coming at him. He air mails it over the cutoff guy. So again, this is a new guy coming in, and I'm not putting that on the Pirates thing, but it's just like, this is just like, it's every night, it seems, especially in the losses, which it gets, you know, exposed mostly, but like you have those mental lapses, and then you have just terrible defense where if he makes that catch cleanly, he has a strong arm, and you saw when he airmailed it, but like he makes that catch cleanly and uses his arm and makes a better throw to home. Maybe they only scores 1 run on that, you know, that Paul Skenes gives up that hit instead of 2. And it's a 3-0 ball game, but in turn it ends up being a 4-0 ball game. Like that's what the mental lapse is. That's what the lack of fundamentals does to a ball team.
Yeah. And again, it also sort of shows that Ben Charing doesn't value, right? I mean, he acquires players like this all the time, players that can't hit, who also can't field. You know, I don't know what the advanced analytics, and I don't know what his process says about all this, but if you're not going to be an above average hitter, you should at least make the basic plays, right? You don't have to be a Gold Glove winner. You don't have to be Brian Hayes, but the basic plays, fielding the ball cleanly, you know, not bobbling, not, you know, juggling everything. And again, that certainly allowed an additional run to score. And it was early, you know, again, it wouldn't have, you know, in the big picture, it doesn't matter. We lost, we weren't scoring any runs, but you just never know what one play, you know, can make. And again, you know, who knows? It's extra pitches that Skenes has to throw. And, you know, there's just so many negatives to like just not making these basic plays, fundamental plays. So.
Yeah. And it, like, I will say, and it sounds like an excuse and a cop out, but it is realistic. You know, the Pirates weren't making those plays like we're talking about right now. And the Dodgers were, you know, like they were, like, I forget who hit it, but that one ball had, Joey Bart, the one that, you know, Kiki Hernandez did snag. Now, Kiki Hernandez made 2 terrible plays to start off the game. Let's also notice that. That's why Brian De La Cruz did get on base once because of that, you know, error. And then he had a bad, you know, fielding on, I think it was Reynolds, maybe kind of fluff. Well, regardless, he had 2 ones. But then, like, he robbed Joey Bart of a hit. Expected batting average of 850 on that he just screamed down the line. And, you know, Hernandez moves to his right and jumps up and gets his ball in his glove magically, you know. And like you talk about, Kiermaier makes that ridiculous catch in the center field. And, you know, like things were going the Dodgers' way. Things weren't going the Pirates' way so much. There was some of the luck there, as you mentioned. But ultimately, like, the Pirates weren't able to find a way to win when, like, they absolutely had to right now, especially with Paul Skenes up there on the mound. And that's what happened. But, you know, when going down the line, like, Michael A. Taylor had 2 hits today.
Right.
Of course, he erased one of them because he got picked off. Joey Bart had a hit today, erased it because he decided to take off on the ball in the air. But, you know, Connor Falefa, 2 hits. Brian Reynolds, 2 hits. The top of the lineup was doing their part as they typically have been doing. No Cruz does go 0 for 3 with a walk today. Walk off another lefty, by the way. And like after that, Brian Hayes hit a home run. He pulled it in the 9th inning. Didn't matter.
At Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium is not a hitter's park. I mean,
do you have? I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah. Do you have any thought about Brian Hayes recently? Any different feeling on him?
I mean, not really. He's having one of the worst seasons I've ever watched from somebody that you had some expectations. The Pirates have had lots of bad players who've come up and been bad and hit this poorly, all year long. But after what we saw from Cabrian Hayes and from July on, um, I thought he was going to be a decent hitter. Back to the old league average, if he could just be a league average hitter. But his at bats have been better. He hasn't had any power, but I mean, I'm at the point I don't care if he, because all he's been doing is making outs. If he can hit singles now, if he, if 8 of his 10 hits are singles, I'll take it. They're not outs, right? I mean,
Right.
he's batting low enough in the lineup now that if he hits in the 8th spot or 7th spot and hits a single, we might get around to the top of the lineup to move him in or something. So, I don't know. Maybe I've just lowered my expectations so much. I mean, because it's been a dreadful season from him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
has not been as good defensively, although he's still elite defensively, but he hasn't been quite as good as he was last year and has been in the past. But man, I mean, he just, it's like we pulled a guy out of the stands, and put him up to bat against Major League Pitching for the first time. He looks just lost. I really think it's got to do with his back, but that's not comforting because it doesn't seem like there's any real solution for that. So, but yeah, I'll take singles. Just get yourself to be, a 700 OPS guy hitting singles. I don't care. Get on base, maybe take a few more walks.
Yeah, good luck with that. But I do just bring it up, just again. I'm not falling into the trap again for Cabrian Hayes. But again, he hit the home run today.
Yeah, we're not saying it's Cabrian Hayes is back, right?
No, by no means, right? But I do just want to state he did hit the home run today, last night and tonight. Also, he hit one pretty deep away. The ball last night would have been out in 8 ballparks. Tonight, 0. But starting to maybe kind of see the ball go in the air, which you want to see. And this isn't to say like he's going to do what he did last year, but just to get Cabrian Hayes to be like an average hitter going forward would be nice to see. Again, how this team's going to finish. I just want to put a note. He's been more lucky, I feel like, since the All-Star break in his singles machine ways. But I don't know. I guess I just want to put up a note. He hit the ball twice,
right,
the opposite way, pretty deep in the air. Also pulled one home run. That's the stuff he needs to be doing if he's going to be productive. So if this is the start of seeing it again to be full again, maybe we're starting to see it.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
we can buy right back in after 2 good weeks, right?
But yeah, and like Brian De La Cruz 0 for 3. Yasmani Grandal 1 for 4. I'm also this. I know it's not going to do much right now, but I'm absolutely at the point where Grandal just has to go. I don't know what you're gaining right now by having him here. Yeah. Not that Henry Davis.
He's a good clubhouse guy,
but is he? I don't know. I'm not making the claim that he is.
Yeah,
or isn't.
I mean, that's
I just
what
know
they say,
from the
but
previous
that's what you
clubhouse
say when you're trying to justify why you're keeping. Yeah. I mean, that's the cliche for just suck it up. We're not getting rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess where I'm at though.
I mean, he's catching Paul Skenes. Done. You tell me that Bart. Yeah, right. We think the season's done. So why wouldn't you give Bart more time to if we can see if what he's doing is real? Because what he's doing is phenomenal. And yeah, I'm saying bring up Cook and York. At least they're hitting. You can bring up Henry Davis too. I'm fine with that. I mean, he's doing all he can do at AAA. I don't know if it translates. And if you keep him down there longer to build confidence or whatever, I'm fine with that. You bring up delay. I don't care. But there's no reason for Grandal to be here. Paul Skenes is a good enough pitcher. He can pitch to any catcher that we throw out there. And I think he's he's still going to have his splinker. He's still going to throw 101. So there's just no reason, just none.
That's where I'm at. Again, like I feel like no matter what side you feel on, if you feel like they're done and they're out, there's no future with Yasmani Grandal. And we've seen the mirage of, Henry Davis tearing it up in AAA and coming up here and failing. But he needs to learn how to hit major league pitching. It's the O'Neill Cruz argument, right? Like there's nothing left for him in AAA to learn and do. He needs to learn at the major league level if it's going to happen. That's where I'm at with him at this point in time. So like if it's over, well, here's his opportunity. Here's another 2 or a month and a half learning curve for you to ready up for next year, maybe have a better idea in the offseason where you're going. Right. But at the same side, if you want to feel, and again, like the Pirates should, the organization should, you still should be looking at playoffs. If you want to, this is your last attempt of desperation. Like it's not happening with Yasmani.
Right.
It's not happening with.
It's both arguments. Right. Both arguments say, get rid of, if you think the season is over, you bring up the young guy and see what he can do. If you think you have a chance, you bring up a guy who at least has the potential to hit. We know Grandal cannot hit anyone. We know he is done as a baseball hitter, right? He's done as a catcher. He's really done as a baseball player. So again, you bring up, maybe you don't bring up Davis, but you bring up DeLay and you give more starts to Joey Bart. Right. And it's the same thing to me. You bring up Cook and Yark are crushing it. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if they can play, but I'd rather see one of those guys than Brian De La Cruz. I'd rather see them than Michael A. Taylor. I'd rather see them Jared Triolo. Look, I wouldn't mind Ke'Bryan Hayes taking another day or 2 off a week. Right. Let Cruz DH and, Kiner Falefa play short and, York play second. Or so. You're either way. If you think the season's over, you might as well see what they have. And if you think we have a chance, and you should, right? You do. Technically you do. You can, run off a hot streak. But, much in the way that maybe Nick Gonzalez sort of ignited the offense a little when he came up here. It only lasted a month. But if one of those guys could provide a spark for a month, that would be spectacular. So, maybe Henry comes up and he stays hot for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Like if there's going to be any shot at this team actually making the playoffs, it's because you have the figment of speed. Like you have the home run hitter. You hit a home run because Henry Davis comes up and you know what? Lightning in a bottle. You caught it. And he's a catalyst. Maybe it is York and you're putting kind of fluff in more of like the utility role, maybe giving Hayes some days off here and whatnot. So that's where I'm at. I feel like it's time, and it's not going to happen obviously tonight, but like it's time let's move on from Yasmani Grandal. Let's get Henry Davis up here for all the reasons being the correct reason. And just see what happens. That's it.
Yeah. You're 100% right. I couldn't agree more. Henry Davis is hopefully part of the future. Let's find out. Let's bring him up when he's at his hottest, and hopefully he can, maybe just last 2 weeks. Who knows? But if it's enough, he puts a few balls over the wall and, it gets things going a little. It'd be great.
Right. Yep. Well, Doug, anything else you want to say about tonight's game?
I'll be back tomorrow. I need mental health break. So no, I've got nothing else. It was it was one of those mid-April, early May games where, nothing really happened, for offense. And it was just depressing because Skenes was pitching and we didn't get a win.
All right. Well, let's get out of here then.
I think his family was there too. Yeah.
They could have been. I guess I didn't see that. I saw Brault's family was there.
They said it was his first start. Yeah, Brault's family was there. I saw that too. But someone posted a picture of Livy Dunn and his parents at his first start in his home state. So
yeah, cool. Well, anyways, we'll be back tomorrow. Of course, the last game of the series, as we talked, Falter starting. face old friend Tyler Glasnow. So Glasnow versus Falter. If there's anything, not that it means much at this point in time, but if there is anything, Tyler Glasnow has not been pitching well lately. So in his last 5 starts, he has a 6 ERA. Hope.
Who do you want to play when you want to get well as a pitcher? You want the Pittsburgh Pirates.
All right, we're getting out of here.
It's better to minor league rehab.
Right. As always, everyone who is watching, appreciate it. Go ahead and like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. Leave your comments. Tell us how bad we are. Appreciate those always. If you listen to the podcast, appreciate you guys. Also, go ahead and rate us. Doug, it was fun.
Yes,
but you're all
go to bed,
I'm
you
done.
maniacs.
I'm done.
What are you doing watching this stuff? Good night.
Yeah. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.
Yeah.